would like to introduce Didi, who is a very special soul, very close to the heart of God, and presently she is a senior faculty member at the Academy for a Better World, Gyan Sarovar at Mount Abu. She is the vice chairperson of the education wing, which is one of the wings of the Rajyoga Education and Research Foundation, just as IT wing. And she is also the in charge of Rajyoga training incentives, which are conducted at Mount Abu. She is also a broadcaster on television, conference speaker, a lecturer, trainer. She's an interpreter and a very popular orator. And her TV programs, she was the first one to start the BK TV program on ZTV, dating back 1993. And she started her spiritual journey quite early at the age of 12. And after completing her science degree from the Bombay University in 1969, she immediately dedicated herself to the organization, becoming an instrument for spiritual enlightenment for society. And she has served in a lot of cities of India, Mumbai, Bangalore, Kathmandu in Nepal, Hyderabad, and from 1974 to 76, she helped establish various centers in Africa and Mauritius. And since 1976, she has been based at Mount Abu at the world headquarters, and she has been conducting different sessions for scientists, educationists, jurists, media professionals, politicians, and medical community. And as already mentioned, she's a renowned orator, and she broadcasts, her sessions are broadcasted on ZTV, Sony, Astha, Sanskar, Shakti, Jagran, and many more, and presently at the Peace of Mind television of Brahma Kumaris. And she has extensively traveled for more than 75 countries in all the 5 continents. And today we have her to answer some of the challenging questions that you have put in the box. And to moderate this panel, I call upon Brother B.K. Bhanu, who is a coach, an impact innovation, and an impact innovator and an entrepreneur. So please welcome Bhanu Bhai. His career spans more than 2 decades, and he has been involved in some of the most exciting technological innovations associated with payments, commerce, customer experience design, human-computer interaction, and many more. He's presently working and solving problems in the public service space in India at the Digital Impact Square, which is a TCS Foundation initiative of the Tata Group. And as an innovation and entrepreneurship coach at one of the India's first open social innovation center, he coaches early stage social entrepreneurs towards sustainable and scalable impact. And if I go by his education, in 2015, he graduated with a master's degree in general management from the Harvard University. He is the recipient of the Cathy Y.F. Young Prize and Medal for Academic Excellence. In 2016, he was one of the 12 chosen Indian leaders to be awarded one of the world's most prestigious fellowships, the Chevening Fellowship by the British government. And he studied at the King's College London, where his research focus was the area of public policy and practicing gap. And in 2019, he was awarded the Oxford Weidenfeld Scholarship, and he pursued his master's in social intervention and policy at the University of Oxford. And he earned a degree of distinction and a lot of more things to his introduction. Just to conclude that he is presently at the advisory board of the Oxford Social Entrepreneurs and a startup called Sanshodhan, which is to create an e-waste exchange and propel a circular economy of India, and a meditation practitioner who extends his spiritual wisdom in all the areas that he excels. So over to you, Bhanu Bhai, to conduct this panel discussion.
Om Shanti, everyone. How are you all doing? All excited? You all think anything is possible, right? So this is a treat for me personally, like Sister Vidatri was talking about. We have two esteemed guests, some of my most favorite spiritual lights that I have grown up watching and reading and listening to. And it's an opportunity for all of us to glean into the wisdom that they have. And a lot of our discussions here are not related to technology, but actually the people behind the technology, right? Inner technology and what's happening inside. And a lot of questions that all of you have asked. First of all, thank you very much for an overwhelming response. When we said you please drop your questions, we got like maybe a lot of questions in a very short time. And we sat all through afternoon and sorted them out. And we shared them also with our guests. Not just this, but we'll probably share it with other guests as well, because there are so many diverse set of questions. So we'll not be able to cover all of them in one session. So that's the context. So your questions will be there. Please listen attentively. Your answers will be given by the guests. Also, as we are seeing this, right, today is an exploration day. It's a day for exploring. Now, if you look at the philosophy of spiritual pursuit, right? We always find that, how I'm actually doing a lot of work, I'm sensing satisfaction and achievement when I actually do my work. Now these people are telling me to be quiet and be silent and just be happy and contented. How does that actually conflict, with sense of achievement and purpose versus actually being? So one of the focus that we want to cover in this panel discussion is this concept of being, just being, not doing. Right? You remember during the inauguration, we were told that we are human beings, not just human doings. So how do we be, right? And we have, I think, the right kind of guests who can actually answer these questions for us. Then the point is also about giving. There is an increased sense of giving among all of you. All of you are doing whatever you can in giving, but then how do we give? What do we give? And what is the intention and attitudes when we actually give? Because giving, as for the philosophy of the Brahma Kumaris, is actually receiving. And giving nurtures us. Giving actually supports our growth and development. So there is a lot of power in giving. And the third aspect that we want to cover is growth. Right? All of us in the technology world are driven by growth, whether it is the company's growth or our own growth, team's growth, and so on. But then how do we turn this growth inward? How do we focus on our own growth, and then based on that foundation, then invest ourselves and then make our teams grow, make our organizations grow? Okay with all of this? Yeah? So let me start. We just heard a beautiful experience-filled session by Brother Nizar. So we'll start from that perspective. Right? So what am I actually pursuing? Right? This is one of the questions that is top on the mind. What am I actually pursuing? If I take a pause and reflect and say, what is it that I am actually made for? Am I made for this corporate success? Am I made for in individual excellence? What am I actually made for? What is my purpose? And why am I chasing? And why am I actually going into this rat race of corporate life? Right? Anybody resonate with that question? We are seeing some nodding the heads. Can we see a rise of hands? Okay, this is in demand. We know that. I know from personal experience, right? So the question is more deeper. Why am I actually in this field? So I'll start from the spiritual perspective of Sister Sheilu, right? And ask, why am I doing what I'm doing? What is the purpose? And why should I be continuing doing this? And how best can I do this, right? It's not that I'm going to go take sannyas. I have to still live in this world and earn an income.
Om Shanti. Thank you, brother. Yes, this is a very, very big question which many people ask. First of all, they ask, who am I? The second question they ask is, why am I? Third question they ask is, from where am I? So who am I? Why am I? And from where am I? The answers are spiritual. They are not something pertaining to this world. Because when I say, okay, who am I? You may give all your, different qualifications and maybe your introduction in different ways. But when it comes to really who am I, the answer is something spiritual. Because when you say, I'm a human being, all will say this is a common answer. But when we say human being is human and being, the human part is a physical part, but the being is a spiritual part. So when I say human being, it's a combination of physical and spiritual. So actually, in life, both are necessary. For the body, we need food, water, clothing, shelter, all that, of course. But what about the soul, the being part, the spiritual part? The spiritual part, the soul, needs love, peace, happiness, bliss, contentment, all virtues we talk about. So it's not just that eat, drink, and be merry, some may say. Or if I have food to eat, I have good accommodation, I have good clothes, then I'm happy. Some have everything physical, but still they are not happy. Still they are not contented. Still they are not really satisfied with life. So why are they not satisfied? Because the other part, the spiritual part, is not in them. And that spiritual part is our values. That's why there's a very beautiful saying. If I have values in life, then my life is of value. But if there are no values in life, then life too has no value. Very interesting. If I have values in my life, then my life is of value. But if I don't have values in life, then my life is of no value. So this is what my real purpose is. Not just eat, drink, be merry and in a physical way, but also to experience all these values in life. So why am I in this world? To experience these values too in life, which I can experience through the body, of course. But then who's experiencing love? Who's experiencing happiness? Who's experiencing peace? It is a soul. And therefore, these values are also very important in life. And when I'm able to achieve them, then I'm really a satisfied person, a contented person. I'll never be satisfied or contented if I have everything only on the physical level. So this is what it means.
Thank you, Sister Sheilu. So it is this combination of pursuit, one pursuit on the physical side and another pursuit on the spiritual side. And both of them are probably equally challenging. I would like to ask now, Brother Nizar, when I look at the physical pursuit of achieving goals and targets for myself or for my company, it is very exciting. It sort of creates a thrill. But when I look at the spiritual side of it, are there similar excitement possible?
Thank you. And my simple answer is yes, unquestionably. I got introduced to spirituality about 32 years ago. I was 48 years old then. And although it may have taken me probably 2 or 3 years before I could say I was really spiritual, I think that I have achieved considerably more following the spiritual path than I had achieved previously without spirituality. Because it was much harder to achieve what I did before. I got ulcers at 35 because you have to handle stress constantly. And if you don't have the background of spirituality, it's very hard to handle stress. I mean, that's one of the issues that we cannot handle. Also, this whole concept of having anger, having ego. My ego was bigger than the whole continent of Asia. I promise you. Because I thought I was really important. You see, because I had a bit of money. And I thought, that's success. I had name. I had fame. I was manufacturing Adidas for 49 countries. It was all here. But none of that was helpful to my real success. Because real success finishes with contentment. It doesn't finish with ulcers. And this sounds like a story or fairy tale, but actually it is the truth. Because spirituality allows you to handle situations which you could not do before. You know, that is what the upgrade is. Sheilu Ben just told you that who am I is a question that we very often put it on one side until somebody dies. And then we go to God and say, please God, give him peace, eternal peace to the soul. Then we start talking about the soul. Until then, we don't think about the soul. But each one of us is a soul, lives here in the command post. From here, we see, we hear, we talk, we do everything from here, from the command post. And we enter the body in the 5th month of pregnancy. We need to have this truth in what we are doing constantly. That's stage 1 of what we achieve in terms of spirituality. And that the intellect is in the soul, the decision-making power is in the soul. All of that, the memory is in the soul. And it is the soul that does everything. And we've forgotten. We think we are bodies, talking to bodies. So one of the first things that I learned at the age of 48 is the answer to the simple question, who am I? I would have then given you all my credentials, all the companies, all the chairmanships I had, my heritage, my father and my grandfather and so on. All rubbish, unimportant. What is really important is this. Who am I? So I think that I don't want to make it more complicated than I already done, but I think that is what is important.
So one thing that I should probably correct myself now, based on what both Sheilu Ben and Nizar Bhai has said, is that it's not that we have two different pursuits. It's not that we have a physical pursuit of the world and the material aspirations that we may have, and then the spiritual pursuit. It is just that the spiritual pursuit feeds the physical pursuit. It actually helps, it elevates, it promotes. And the importance of this pursuing spiritual progress, and I think is such an important element, the foundation as such. Both of these points are, I think, very important. Now, also I can sense the excitement when he says that the most important attainment is actually understanding who you are, right? Because if I don't know who I am, I don't know what I need. And if I don't know what I need, I don't know what direction to take and how far to go, how fast to go, who else has to come with me. All of these are not known if I don't know who I am, right? So very important, and the journey becomes exciting after that. So being before doing. Doing is important, like Sheilu Ben said. It's not that you can be without food, water, and clothes and things like that, but being before doing. And every time you do, have a consciousness that I should also spend some time in being. Thank you for those insights. Should we take a minute? So now in this, it's actually, when we talk to all of them as professionals, it's quite difficult to just manage our work life. It's so, we keep ourselves busy already. Now, how do I introduce this practice of also focusing on spiritual pursuit? How do I manage my time, and how do I actually introduce this? Isn't it very difficult? I am already spending 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours working. Now I have to introduce now this new practice. I have come to Brahma Kumaris, I go back, everybody is telling me practice silence, practice meditation. How do I make this integration happen? Any of you feeling that pressure? No, you don't need to feel ashamed. Close your eyes and you can raise your hand. Yeah? So how do you actually integrate this? Now we know what we have to be, but how do we actually do this? What are your tips? Please share, both of you, from your experience. Sheilu Ben.
Well, all of us have been body conscious for many, many years, I can say many births. And that body consciousness, that I am so and so, only the physical introduction, has led us to a big downfall. We were so elevated, even as human beings. Spirituality tells us as human beings, we were actually divine. We were deities. We were so pure. We had all the values in life. But then gradually, as we took rebirth, so birth after birth, the soul's value degraded. And today we have reached such a stage where the soul and body both are in their degraded form, if I say, it's not an exaggeration. Just like a lamp, if there is enough oil in it, it will, burn so, light so brightly. But as the oil reduces, the light also reduces, like a battery of your mobile, and then it can get discharged. Similarly, this body, which is made up of matter, the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and sky, we say, even these 5 elements of matter are gradually deteriorating, degrading. There was a time when the soul was the master of matter, and that time, as matter was subservient, this world was a beautiful world. But gradually, the soul became a slave of matter, and then this world became a degraded world, what we call as Kali Yuga, Iron Age. So we have reached that stage where matter has overpowered the soul. It's like the car controlling the driver. And when the car starts controlling the driver, the brake fails or whatever, and the driver can't control, what is the result? The result is chaos, suffering, tragedy, death, sorrow, all that. But if the master is the soul, the driver is a complete controller of the car, then driving is a game, it's a joy. So there's a difference. So today life has become like a burden. It should be, even at your workplace, it should be really a place of happiness. So doing is not bad. But what is more important is that who is the doer? If I forget that and I think it's just the body, then I'm totally going for a downfall. But if I'm aware of my true self as a soul, and I'm the master of my senses, then whatever actions I'll do them on the basis of that feeling of I'm a controller of these senses. And as a controller of my senses, I know what I'm doing, I know what I have to do. As brother was mentioning about the vices, lust, anger, greed, attachment, ego, are because the body has become the master, and that's leading to all the vices. And the result of all that is sorrow and suffering in the world today, in spite of having everything. You know, there are many people who have everything they can cherish for. They have everything. And still if you ask them, are you happy? Are you contented? You have everything. What will be the answer? You'll say, I have everything, but I want peace. I want love. I want true happiness. So in spite of having all the physical, material things in the world, but still that peace isn't there. Because peace doesn't come from outside. Other physical things come from outside. But peace comes from within. It comes from your thoughts. What are my thoughts like? And on that depends your inner contentment or inner, discontentment. So this is what we do in meditation. It's an inward journey. We have traveled a lot in the outward world, but meditation teaches us to go to our inner world. And sometimes we feel that inner world or that inner self is empty. And when something is really empty, you can understand what will be the result. Empty vessels make the most noise, most sound. So because internally there is emptiness, that feeling of sorrow, suffering is there. And that's what meditation helps us to really become aware of your true self. That true self is the soul. Soul means source of unique light, S-O-U-L. It's a unique light. So I am that unique light, the master of my senses. So this is the beginning of meditation. And when I begin to think in this way, I realize that I'm the master of my senses. So whatever actions I'll do them in the right way. Those which are not against my conscience, but those which go with my conscience. Whenever I go against my conscience, what happens? They say, my conscience bites me. This is not right, this is not right. Because the inner soul is so elevated, but it has now become body conscious. So through meditation, we reach our original self once again. Who am I? I am a peaceful soul. I'm a blissful soul. I'm a pure soul. I'm a happy soul. I won't say this for the body. They both are totally opposite each other. When I say I want peace, who wants peace? It's not the body which wants peace. Because if the body gets peace, for example, if your heart stops, finish, that's the end of life. So body is always working. And the more you work through the body, the stronger you will become. So the body needs work, that's okay, it's needed. But the soul needs peace. And therefore, in spite of me working, internally I can be at peace. Because I know I'm the master of my senses, and when I want, I can just detach. Just like a tortoise, how it detaches. It's walking, limbs are out, hands, feet, head, everything is out, it's walking. But if it doesn't want to walk, it just withdraws and becomes like a hard shell, which is very powerful, very strong. So I become so detached, and when I'm detached, I can be very loving with all. So internally I am detached, but externally I'm loving. I have love for everyone in this world. It's not I have love for this one and not that one. I don't distinguish. Because my intellect has reached an unlimited stage. Because I'm not something physical. So this is what meditation helps us. So it's an inward journey, and then it's an upward journey. Because when I say, from where am I? It's an upward journey. I'm not from this world. This physical world is like a guest house. Shakespeare said this world is a stage and we are all actors playing our respective roles. The stage is not the home of the actor. So as we are guests on this world drama stage, where is our home? Our home is beyond. And we pray to God for that. God, take me beyond. Give me liberation. So who wants liberation? The soul from the body. And this is why we say you return from where you are. So from where you come is there where you go back. Everything goes back to source. You spill water, the water will fall down. You may give a scientific reason, no doubt, but then spiritually the answer is it will go back to the source. The source is the sea. So it will go back to the source. Therefore it falls down. You light a candle, the light goes up because the source is the sun. So it has to go back to the sun. Scientifically you may give different reasons. But spiritually, this is the reason. Everything goes back to its source. So when a person dies, we say, why do we say, oh God, may his soul rest in peace? Oh God, because we say that the soul has gone to God. Because the source of the soul is God. And then for the body, we either cremate the body or we bury the body, whatever. These are different methods for disposing of the body. It means it has come from the 5 elements. It has to go back to the 5 elements. That's from where this body has come. But I have not come from the 5 elements. I am eternal. I am immortal. I am imperishable. I never die. I was never born. So this is the consciousness we keep in meditation, and then that helps us to go beyond in a second, to detach our mind in a second. That's what meditation does.
I'm so thankful for this explanation because I think it's a very detailed understanding of who am I, where am I, and how do I actually practice this meditation. As I was saying, Sister Sheilu is one of those who has created these original meditation commentaries, and we have all grown up listening to those. So it's very nice to listen to that kind of authority coming from experience. You could probably sense that in the tone, in the stage as well. I think this is a very important aspect. One thing that touched me is how this is similar to the woodcutter chopping wood all day and taking some time out to sharpen their axe. Right? Eventually you will end up chopping more wood, but then that investment in sharpening your axe is equally investment, is what is Sister Sheilu talking about when we go back and connect to the source. I would like to now ask Brother Nizar, if I were to look at his lifestyle, running from meetings to meetings, meeting very important people, preparing for all of this, there must be so much intellectual work that must be going on and preparation. Amidst all of that, how do you actually take time out? And what is your experience? Maybe a couple of tips that in busy life, how do we actually take time out for meditation?
We always make time for something which is useful, something which is necessary. We make time for that. And with the spiritual concept, once we get into this spirituality as part of our life, we begin to realize the benefits of that. You know, that if I'm sitting in chairing a meeting which becomes very hot and people are really shouting and talking with each other, I give a comfort break, 5 minutes. I then sit in that room and connect in soul consciousness and spread the vibrations of peace. 5 minutes, even less sometimes. When the meeting resumes, the conversation becomes much smoother, quieter, and so on. This is practical. We do this all the time. Because the usefulness of spirituality is not only when I'm going to die. Spirituality is useful in everyday life. That's why people like me adopt it. Because we see the benefit of that every day of what we do. We see the power. As I told you earlier, I'm much more successful after I found spirituality than I was before. And easier. It wasn't a constant battle. So, to put it in your language, everybody here is looking for power. Don't tell me you're not, because you are. The more power you have, the more power you want. Simple. Right? Now, there are different kinds of power. You want not the power that you get because you've got so many directors under your spell, so to speak, or that you are controlling so much money or votes or and so on. That is one kind of power. But what you really, really need is to become internally powerful. That is the real power. Because to be internally powerful means that you can handle any situation that the world throws at you or anybody throws at you. I want to be capable of handling that power, of managing that power. This is what we all want, is inner power. And the way to get that is partly already described to you by Sheilu. I was once told a long time ago that as you get older and older, there are 3 things in life that you need to develop. One is play bridge, because it keeps your gray cells going. It's easy. You can sit down and do it. Second, play golf, because it's nice, green, you can walk along, it's good for your health. And third is learn to meditate. That is a power that will stay with you all your life. And it's a power, nobody can take it from you. It's a power that you can develop on your own. You don't need anybody to support you or to help you. That is the process of inner power. Whenever I go in large meetings and I ask, how many of you go either into what we call silent time or quiet time or inner thinking or meditation or any such thing, 60 to 70% of top successful people in the world are doing this. 60 to 70%. And I can give you a list of all the successful CEOs and chairmen in the world who are doing this. Why? Because nobody does it for nothing. If you don't get results, you don't do it. You know that better than anybody else. So this is something we need to cultivate, to learn. It's a process. It's in our control. We can do this. And when you do this, then you see the power of that which is inner power. This is the best form of soft power. Best form of soft power there is. Because there is no magic out there. You know that everything is logical. There is no, hey, presto, and then the rivers open and this open and that happen. It's all rubbish. There's nothing like that. Everything is logical. So we need to find that logic and go into the details of that and say, how can I develop that from within me? And what you are hearing from Sheilu and me is this is the experience we are talking about. What we have experienced. This is not somebody else telling this story. This is our experience. A lot of people in the beginning, when I started this process, they told me to stop going to parties, to stop drinking alcohol and smoking, and to stop non-vegetarian food and all of that. How can we have fun so we can do that too? They were talking to me sarcastically. These were my old friends. And my answer to them was, I have not signed any contract with the Brahma Kumaris or anybody else that forces me to stay here. I do this because this gives me more pleasure and satisfaction and success than all the other things that I was doing before. This is why we do it. We are all selfish people. If you don't succeed, you stop. And so this is the challenge I'm giving to each one of you. Learn to meditate. See the success that you're getting. If you don't succeed, please go to him and say, Nizar Juma was talking a lot of rubbish. I promise you. This is where success will come. Because it's inner success, it's in your control. Nobody can take it from you, and nobody will share it with you. You will possess it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that secret of growth as well. Like, how do you grow? By making sure that you follow what keeps you successful, then stop doing things that don't make you successful, and then you keep having those practices added up. We just received a question, and I just thought we will add this here. We were taught to be selfless, right? Then why empower the self? Empower the self. We have been taught to be selfless in service. So now I think, at least my impression of reading this question is this confusion between the self as a soul and self or I as an ego. Maybe if you can help clarify that. Short, briefly. So we'll go to, there are two more questions, very interesting ones.
Actually, when it is said, I have to be selfless, means I should not want something only for myself. It should be for everyone, not just for myself. So selfless means not to be selfish, not to be selfish. That's the other form of saying it. So not to be selfish means it's not just for me, it's for everyone. For example, when I say I want peace, it's not just peace for me, it's peace for the world. And that's why the second part comes. First is being, the second part is giving. So giving has also a very big importance, because in karma philosophy, it is said what you give, that you get back. So if you really give, then you get back that. If you really want happiness, then give happiness. So it is, you may say, selfish. If I want happiness, I have to give happiness. It's not selfishness. It is really selflessness. because I'm giving happiness to the other person, but in return I'm getting happiness too. So whatever you give, that you get back. Even if you don't want it, you will still get back. Because any karma you do, you will definitely get the return of that karma, even if you don't want it. Maybe you don't get it now, you'll get it after a few years, but you will get it. So if you really want to get something, give it. This is what really spirituality teaches us. So I don't want to be selfish. Then what does selfless mean? So self here means for the self, the soul, but what I give, that I will get back. So when we say giving, that is the answer to the second question. Why am I here? I'm here to give. If that would be the answer, it's not wrong. Why did I come into this world? I came into this world to give happiness, to give peace, to give love, to give power, to give, You say soft power, whatever. So I've come to give. And the result of that is I will also receive. Give happiness and you will get happiness. Happiness shared is happiness doubled. So if you are really sharing happiness, your happiness will double. If you share peace, your peace will be doubled. Physical things, if you give something to someone, yours will be reduced, no doubt. I have 10 rupees, I give 5 rupees, I will have only 5 rupees in my pocket. But if I give peace, my peace will be doubled. So this is what it really means to be selfless. Means you are giving. And selflessness, whilst you are giving, you are also selfish that you are getting. So never mind if you are selfless, you are still selfish because you are getting back too. So there is no harm in giving. So I'm selfless doesn't mean that I'm giving, I don't want it, but I will definitely get back. So what you want to give, what you want to receive, give to others. This is the answer in spirituality, okay? Thank you.
This reminds me, recently a common friend, actually was suffering from a lot of depression and anxiety. And one of my other good friends just took her a colleague took her to a book donation drive. She did not donate the books. She just was participating in the process of giving to the children. And she came back so much more refreshed. And she felt that all her worries were gone. And she just participating in that action, like sister was sharing about the karma of actually giving, even though it is not that something that you owned, you just participated in that action, sort of healed her from inside, just being there in that company. So these are some practical tips to see that even if I don't own anything, can I give something? Maybe it is the time, maybe it is attention. Right? I thought I'll include this question because this is a hot topic in the world today. This is about artificial intelligence, right? So we are seeing the evolution of technology to such an extent that we are expecting artificial intelligence to be attentive, to be reflective, focused, not daydreaming. We are expecting all these things from artificial intelligence, which are things that we normally expect from human beings. So how do we actually practice and achieve attention? If we are able to teach machines to be attentive, machines to be focused, how can I teach myself to be attentive? What is this distraction and attention? How do I actually force myself out of distraction and actually achieve attention?
You know, artificial intelligence is a tool that has grown so quickly that it's sometimes also very scary. They made a voice of me and me talking to me in my voice. And it sounded just like me. And it was like, wow, because that is scary. It's really scary. I think that we are now at a stage where this is going to happen more and more and more. And I think the that's part of the process of, I suppose, the development of the world. And I'm not sure what you want me to say, really, because from a spiritual standpoint, you know, I think the world of silence is much more powerful than what the world of science. And so I'm a strong believer in this, that the world of silence, which is the world that we are part of, that means spirituality, has considerably more power. And I think that that is what I want to develop more and more.
So, I think this resonates with what we are trying to do to teach machines now. We are saying, don't just give out answers instantaneously. Hold on, take a pause, go into silence, reflect, and then give your answers. Those answers are of better quality. So I think this is exactly what we are doing. So it may be actually coming from what human beings want to do, which is take a pause, reflect, and then go back and answer. So how do we teach somebody to be attentive? Is to actually slow down, take a pause, and then get into action, right? So this is just a matter of time. We are running short of time, so we are having to take a pause here, but I'll quickly summarize. Some of the important things that we focused on is just in understanding who am I, what is my role, where am I from, and how do I practice this journey, both inward and upward, as a tool of meditation. And the fact that, like Nizar Bhai shared, that success is achieved result of meditation, and also in the process, you also experience it to be much easier. It's not that you don't achieve success after you're not that you're giving up something. It is just that the process of achieving it feels much more easier, much more calmer, and probably even building better relationships in the process, a better health in the process, right? All of these benefits of both being and then doing, I think, is very clear. Also, this very important point that came out about giving, that this attitude of giving whatever is something that I want to take or receive, is a very deeply spiritual concept. It is not that because I want something, I am constantly chasing it, but let me learn to give something first. Whatever I want, first let me try, make an attempt of giving, and the law of karma will take its course. It will actually give me something back in return. And that receiving is natural law of karma. So can I make those attempts? If I'm looking for peace of mind, can I actually start giving peace and identify those opportunities? And then also this whole process of how can I actually start looking, reflecting on my own life. Where am I going so fast? How do I need to slow down and make those spaces for myself so that I can, in that silence, I can start reflecting and probably giving out better answers, better responses to situations. So I would like to thank both our esteemed panelists for their time, wisdom. Thank you very much, and we will make all our efforts to put all of what you shared into practice. Thank you so much. We'll spend a minute in silence and practice this. Yeah.
करते चलो सबका भला, जीवन के जीने की ये है कला। करते चलो सबका भला, जीवन के जीने की ये है कला। करते चलो सबका भला, जीवन जीवन के जीने की ये है कला, करते चलो।
Om Shanti. So we sincerely thank Sheilu Didi, Nizar Bhai and Bhanu Bhai, and let us do a 3 club clap for 3 of them. And the 3 club clap is thank you. So this was for 3 of you. Thank you so much for enlightening us and being so practical in resolving some of the trickiest questions. And I'm sure the answers are not enough because we need to now practice. Ji. You have a question? We will take it and we will resolve that question in the further sessions now. Okay? Thank you. But please make a note of it, because even though the panel is over, we still have more sessions. So we will find the appropriate session where your question can be answered. And now our next session for today is a very unique one, especially for the IT retreat for the IT professionals, that is digital wellness. So when we talk about mental wellness, when we talk about physical wellness, being in a digital world, digital wellness is directly linked with our mental and physical wellness. How and how can we actually practice it? For this, we have our next speaker, BK Balakishore Bhai. I invite him on stage, and he is presently working as the Vice President Better Living in Sears Technology, and where he is leading initiatives to enhance employee efficiency and effectiveness through better living. And he's also a digital wellness coach. He is the founder and lead facilitator of the Spirit Summit, which is a special summit inviting IT leaders from all across the world, and also the Booth and the Spiritual Application and Research Center, the IT wing, and several other initiatives of Brahma Kumaris. He's a meditation practitioner since 1993, and he has traveled across more than 15 countries to conduct wellness retreats and sessions. And he's a professional certified coach, international coach by the International Coach Federation in 2013. And he has also done his, apart from all his education, masters and in engineering and everything which he did from NIT, he did the BE from the Osmania University. He's also a master's in Vedic sciences from the MIT ADT Pune. And he is also one of the recipients of the British Chevening Scholarship in 2002, and a lot more. He's an author also, and he is a founding member of the MMTS Travelers Group Hyderabad, which is an initiative to improve local train infrastructure. And he's a board member to Right to Walk Foundation Hyderabad, which is advocating pedestrian rights. And today we have him to share his experiences and how digital wellness is directly linked with our mental and physical and emotional wellness. So over to you, Balabhai.
Good evening. Usually I don't allow people to sleep in my sessions. So you've been sitting around for the last hour and a half. Can you please get up? So please listen to the instructions, very simple instructions. say as I say and do as I do. What's the instruction? Okay? Front. Yeah. What was the instruction? Say it. Front. Very good. Up. Front. Up. Front. Down. Now the next instruction. Say as I say, do the opposite of what I do.